What's up everybody, Hein here, and today's video is on how to use your drum pad, whether it's a MPD, Akai, any type of drum pad, to trigger live samples during your show to make it your set incredibly versatile and exciting. Today, as I just mentioned, I'm going to be using my MPD 226, which is an amazing little drum pad that I use all the time for my live shows. Let's get stuck straight in. So here we have an Ableton session ready to go. We're going to be chopping up a song of mine called Gargoyles from my new side project, The Art of Escape. So what we're going to do is we're going to be chopping up this sample here so that we can use it on the drum pad. So what we need to start off by doing is, obviously we're going to need to have Ableton. You're going to need to have a USB cable to connect Ableton to your MPD, and you're going to need an MPD or something similar as a drum pad. So once you've got all those things dialed in and you've got your song uploaded into Ableton and you've got all your stems in front of you, I'm going to find the actual track that I want to put into the drum pad, which is this one I've just showed before. We're going to cut the part that we actually are going to use. So that's the first step. And once we've done that, we're going to have a closer look at it, double click it. And on the bottom left, you'll see the ability to warp it. We're going to click warp. And once we've done that, we're going to choose complex. Because this is an actual vocal sample that we're chopping up, it has more detail and therefore it needs to be warped in a more complex way, as opposed to beats, tone, texture, repitch, complex or complex pro. Complex pro is another option. I just go with complex and it's given me great results. Now what we're going to do is we're going to choose the points of the audio that we want to have individually triggered by separate pads on the drum pad. So I want to have the very beginning of the audio here as one thing. We're going to double click that to get rid of that, because we don't want to set a warp marker, which is what these things are for this part of the song where there isn't actually any audio. So we'll have a little listen here. Second one, definitely I want to have that third note there. So we're going to choose another warp marker there. If there isn't an actual set marker before, you can still double click above it anywhere you'd like and it will appear on the marker. So don't fret if you can't see a suggested marker, because you can just set your warp markers anywhere you like by double clicking above. So have a listen for, I think I'm going to have 4 for each line. So there's my third, I think. And then I'll have that last 4th one there. So we're actually only going to need to use 2 of these. So I'm going to delete that. We'll go back here to the second one. Once again, we want to have at the beginning of the second melody. I want to put another one there. Another one there. And just have fun with it and play around with where it feels right. Once you've set your warp markers, what we want to do now is right click the audio and go down to slice to new MIDI track. Click on that, create 1 slice per warp marker, which is what we want. Okay. And once we've done that, we've created a new track here. You can see Gvox hook. We can now mute the previous channel, and what it's also going to do is it's going to actually create a MIDI sample recording of that part. But because we're going to be triggering the drum pad live, we don't actually need any MIDI kind of like set things like this. So we can delete that. I'm going to double click G vocal hook here, and then we're going to come down to the bottom left here. And we want to have control over the drum pad itself. So we're going to click that, and now it's giving us all the options. Now you can see down the bottom left here, we want to go to this view because this is where all the samples have been sliced. Once you've found your slices, now it's time to just go through each of them and set them in the correct position for your drum pad to trigger. So we're going to just play this first one on the left here. And as you can see on the right, for the slice one, there isn't actually any audio. So it's sliced an audio for the beginning of that recording when there wasn't actually any audio playing at the time. So we can delete slice one. Let's go to slice two. We can see here on our right, we have a sample. Let's press play and see what it sounds like. Okay, so it's immediately looping. So what we want to do is we don't want it to loop. We just want it to play once. So we're going to unclick loop on the sample itself over on the right. Let's play it again. That's good. Now on the drum pad, if I bring that back up into view, you'll be able to see that we have 16 pads, just like we have 16 options here. I want to trigger the top, not the bottom of the drum pad. So C2 is the top left. So I want this slice down the bottom, my first slice, to be at the top left. Now if I arm my pad for recording and I take it from auto into input, this means it won't record and it will always be set and ready to be played. And I press, we're almost there. So now we just need to go through all the other pads and place them in their slices, and place them in their correct pads. And then we'll be able to control and play this melody in exciting new ways. So we've got our first slice. Now we're going to go to slice 3. Once again, you can hear it's looped. We want to unloop it, and you might have heard there's a clip at the end. So what happens when you slice audio is you actually will need to fade in and out of both sides of the audio slices individually to stop any clipping and unpleasant sounds that we don't want to have. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to one shot in the actual slice view, and you'll see down here in the bottom right we've got a fade in and fade out. Now I heard the clip on the fade out, so we're going to bring the fade out. This is too dramatic. You always want it to be as subtle as possible just to remove the clip itself. So if I play that now, perfect. So now I'm just going to go through, sort the rest of it out. So give me 1 second. Okay, welcome back. So I've just gone and chopped up all of the samples and made sure they're all feeling right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to test it with the actual recording of the song. So if I hold this back up for the camera, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it live whilst the song is playing. And you can get a gist of how you could do this in a live setting. So first of all, I am going to raise the volume. There it is. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try playing the song. Covering shelves, and then there's you and me. So as you can see, it's absolutely great. One thing I did notice when I was playing that was a couple of the slices probably needed little adjustments on the actual length. That one's fine. This one ended a little too soon, so I want to just lengthen that out. I think there's still probably required a little bit more finessing there, but that is essentially how you bring in very cool element to your live show with drum pads. If this was in a live setting, you would obviously have to have an interface connected to your laptop running Ableton with outputs to the front of house system, and then you would have to have your drum pad connected via USB to the laptop itself. This is just one of the many ways that you can make your live show more exciting and cool. So thank you so much for watching this video on how to elevate your show into another level. I use this all the time in my live show and it's incredibly satisfying, and thank you so much for being here. My name's Hein Cooper and I'm very excited to get the people moving in 2026. Big love.